This is Wintergirls 35. I'm sure she's waiting for me in the family room, temperature at 58 degrees, her lecture notes neatly arranged with my faults and mistakes listed in order of priority. She has charts to prove everything I do is wrong, and that my only hope is to allow them to insert her stem cells in my marrow so she can grow a new her dressed in my skin. But no, she's not in the family room. She's waiting for me in the library, which normal people call the living room. Nope, miles of dusted bookshelves, cardiology journals stacked on the coffee table. No Dr. Merrigan. Not in the kitchen, not on the treadmill in the basement, not on the elliptical or lifting weights or working her abs. Mom? The pipes in the basement shudder and the hot water tank fires up. She must be taking a shower. I go up 2 flights and tiptoe across the polished floor of her bedroom, slowly turn the doorknob, and open her bathroom door a crack. A breath of steam trickles out, filled with the sobs of a grown woman breaking into girl-sized pieces. I close the door. When she comes downstairs an hour later, coffee is brewing, orange juice is poured, and a place is set for her at the table with Nana Merrigan's bone china, the antique silver from the giant chest in the dining room, and a linen napkin the color of snow. The way she likes it, precise and neat, just so. The tears have been washed away, but her nose is still red. She looks around the kitchen, confused and off balance again, because I am not following the script. I hand her the glass of juice. As she sips it, I crack open 3 eggs and turn on the burner under the frying pan to melt the butter. Every step in the kitchen is a test. I am strong enough to pick up a stick of butter. I am strong enough to peel off the paper wrapper, drop a hunk in the pan, and watch, listen, smell it melt. I wash the greasy smear off my fingertips without tasting it. I am passing all the tests today with flying colors. When did you learn to cook? My mother asks. Jennifer showed me. Emma loves omelets. She sniffs the air. Is there something in the oven? I wanted to make carrot raisin muffins. Emma likes those too. But you didn't have carrots or raisins, so those are nutmeg muffins. I beat the eggs. Your refrigerator's kind of empty. There's only onion or spinach for your omelet. She studies the chopped veggies on the cutting board. Just spinach. I pour her coffee into the china cup and give it to her. She sets it on the table, then pulls her phone and beeper out of her robe pocket and lines them up next to the fork. She drifts into the chair, eyes unfocused on her reflection in the empty plate. Who was it? I ask. She looks up. Who was who? I slowly pour the eggs into the hot pan. Which patient died? How do you know a patient died? I lift the skin of the omelet to let wet eggs slide underneath. The only time you cry in the shower like that is when you lose a patient. The pan sizzles. The oven timer dings. Mom spreads the napkin in her lap. She was a social worker who took in foster kids. Dilated cardiomyopathy. Very advanced. Had been on the transplant floor longer than anyone. I gave her a new heart on Thanksgiving. It failed today. She died before we could do anything. As she talks, I lay the spinach on the omelet, sprinkle cheese on top, fold it over, and slide it onto the plate that I set in front of her. I'm sorry. Thank you. She takes a bite, even though it just came out of the sizzling pan. This tastes pretty good. I hope you're making one for yourself. She eats automatically, the same number of chews per bite, with the same number of seconds between swallows until the omelet is gone and her gas tank is fueled. We're not yelling at each other. We're not looking for the sharpest knives to hurt each other with. This is good. There is no dancing around the question. I will throw it in the hot pan to see what will happen. Did Cassie die like your patient? I ask. Did her heart fail? I'd rather not talk about that with you, Mom says. Not right now. But you saw the autopsy report, didn't you? I don't think this is the right time. Her beeper vibrates on the table. Damn. She reads the message, punches a number into the phone. This is Dr. Merrigan. I burn my fingertips pulling the muffins out of the oven. They want to jump into my mouth. No, they want to roll themselves in butter and honey and jump into my mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then some moose tracks, ice cream, and then some graham crackers, and a jar of chocolate frosting, and 3 bags of popcorn. All crossed out. Dr. Merrigan gives orders about meds and drips and tests, and then hangs up. Are the muffins done? A little hot. That's okay. I pick up the dirty omelet plate and set 3 muffins in front of her. You said that you were going to explain the autopsy results to Mrs. Parrish. I did. So what happened? Aren't you going to eat anything? I set the dirty plate in the sink. I'm not hungry. Mom peels the pink paper skin off the muffin. What did you have for lunch? I haven't eaten lunch yet. It's almost 2 o'clock. Have a muffin. I don't want one. And eggs. You could use the protein. I had milk in my cereal this morning. You need to eat. The voice is back, giving orders, demanding obedience. Mom. The beeper signals again, bouncing around the table like an angry bee. Damn it, she makes the call. Dr. Merrigan. I put the frying pan and the muffin tin in the sink, turn on the hot water, and pour in the soap. The heat from the kitchen has fogged over the windows. The real girl I was slips out and listens to the echo voices shouting ugly at each other in every room of this house. Mom versus dad, dad versus mom, dad versus mom's job, mom versus dad's girlfriends, mom-dad versus Leah's report cards, Leah's recitals, Leah's decision to quit again, Leah versus everything body. The voices slip into the girl's mouth when she wasn't looking, like a bug on a summer's night that claws at the inside of your throat right after you realize you swallowed it. The voices swam around her insides and multiplied, shard. Tinny echo voices that made a permanent home inside the eggshell of her skull. Stupid, ugly, stupid bitch, stupid fat, stupid baby, stupid loser, stupid lost. I said, Leah, look at me, Mom shouts, shaking my shoulders. I blink. The dishes are gone, but my hands are still in the sink. The bubbles are gone. The water is cold. Mom drags, crossed out, guides me to her chair, one arm around my shoulders, the other reaching to take my pulse. She kneels in front of me and makes me look up, to the side, then straight at the light shining out of her pen. I bet your blood sugar is in the toilet, she mutters. 3 empty muffin papers are folded into triangles on her plate. A pale green pad of paper sits next to the plate, covered with her notes from the phone calls she took while I was in Zombieland. Her juice glass and coffee cup are both empty. The water in the sink sucked time out of the room. I lost 10 minutes, maybe 15. She pours me a glass of orange juice. Drink this. If I don't, there's a good chance she'll wrestle me to the floor, pry open my mouth, and pour it into me. Or drive me to the hospital and stick me with IVs until I inflate and bounce along the ceiling like a Thanksgiving Day parade balloon. I gulp down the orange juice, pushing it to my stomach. She sits, staring at me, as the fog clears from the windows and the battery acid spills into my veins. I'm okay, I say. I'm just sad about Cassie. Instead of answering, she gets up, slams the clean frying pan on the stove, turns on the heat, throws butter in the pan, yanks open the refrigerator door, takes out the eggs and milk, cracks 2 eggs in the pan, splashes milk on them, and beats it all with a fork. I'm not eating that, I say. She hunches over the stove, scrambling. I can't. No response. Scramble. You aren't supposed to push me. I have to feel safe with food. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. She dumps the cooked eggs on a clean plate along with 2 muffins, stalks across the kitchen, and puts it in front of me. The orange juice is a virus attacking my insides. Forget it. She shakes her head. You're not thinking clearly. You're dizzy, and you lied to me about breakfast. Okay, so I forgot breakfast. It's been a rough day. You look terrible. How much do you weigh? Jennifer's the scale Nazi, I say. Ask her. She crosses her arms over her chest. 107 on Tuesday. I don't believe it. She'll show you the notebook. You're going to eat everything on that plate. 2 scrambled eggs plus milk plus butter equals 365, plus 2 muffins equals 450, equals horror. I'll try. I take a small bite of yellow. The orange juice is burning holes through the lining of my gut. I swallow yellow and grease, pick up another forkful, and open wide for the airplane buzzing into the hangar. Mom pours herself another cup of coffee. I put the fork down. I feel sick. I can't do this. You are sick. When you eat like a regular person, you'll feel better. Eating makes me feel worse. Take a bite of muffin. I slowly peel off the pink paper. What was I thinking, cooking for her, trying to kiss Mommy's ouchie and make it all better? I cut the muffin in half, then one of the halves into 4 pieces, and each of those into 2. I put one of the pieces in my mouth. A dry bubble of unmixed flour explodes on my tongue. She watches me chew and swallow. She watches me not take another bite. 1 minute, 2, 3, 4. A couple of years ago, I saw Mom's tax return, and I did the math to figure out her hourly rate. I just wasted $12 of her time. I push the plate away. I can't. Instead of exploding, she takes a deep breath and pushes the plate back toward me. I'll make you a deal. The orange juice is cramping my stomach. What do you mean? If you eat, I'll explain how Cassie died, she says. You're joking. Do I joke with you about food? I am so hungry, crossed out. I have to stay strong, bend but not break. 1 muffin. 2 muffins. You need the carbs. 1 and the eggs. She takes another deep breath. Deal. It takes an hour. Scrambled eggs equals 25 bites. 1 muffin equals 16 bites. My pink mouse stomach likes to be small and empty. It hates me for shoving in all that food. I lie down on the couch, pull the electric blanket over me, and try not to heave. Mom perches on the couch opposite me. She pulls an afghan over her legs, the one I knitted last Christmas, full of dropped stitches and broken patterns. You're sure you want to hear this? It can't be worse than what I've been imagining. It's ugly. Was she high? No, nothing illegal, but she was on 2 antidepressants, a mood stabilizer, and an ulcer medicine. And vodka. Lots of vodka. Alcohol poisoning? No. She adjusts the pillow behind her back but doesn't say anything else. You promised, I say. I did what you asked. You have to tell me everything. Everything? She takes a breath and shifts into her attending physician mode. Cassie had liver damage. Her salivary glands were a wreck, and her stomach was distended. Mom holds up a loose fist. A healthy stomach is this big. It can stretch to hold about a quart. Cassie's could hold 3. Plus her stomach walls had thinned and were showing early signs of necrosis. The last time I saw Cassie was just before Thanksgiving break. I was on my way to the library. She was putting up posters for the musical. Her outside was clean and colorful. New jeans, cute sweater, great earrings. Her cheeks were chipmunky and her hair looked like straw. She was not necrotic. She was chewing bubble gum. Her eyes were tired, but we're seniors. All seniors have dead eyes. I walked past her and whispered said hello, but she didn't hear me. Stretching and retching and filling up and emptying, the Cassie bucket was dragged to the well over and over. Cassandra had a terrible fight with her parents on Thursday at Thanksgiving dinner, Mom says. She got up to purge halfway through the meal. Cindy said even Jerry could see that she was back to her old habits. They told her she needed to go inpatient. She refused. She was 19. They couldn't force her. Jerry lost his temper and said he wouldn't pay for college until she was healthy. Cassie took off. She called Cindy and said she'd come home on Saturday, that she was at a friend's house. She was at the motel. She drank, binged, and purged for 2 days. So it was a heart attack because her electrolytes were messed up? Mom pulls the Afghan up to her chest. No, honey. Cassie's esophagus ruptured. Ripped open. Boerhaave syndrome, usually seen in alcoholics who regularly upchuck after drinking too much. Vomiting forcefully enough can tear the esophagus. Mom looked down at her hands. She was purging into the motel toilet when the rupture occurred. She was also, like I said, very, very drunk. She went into shock and died in the bathroom. I count to 10, then to 100. Mom waits, watching. Inhale, exhale. Do you have any questions? She finally asks. Will it be in the newspaper? Mom shakes her head. I doubt it. Since there were no drugs involved, they'll say something like the death was a result of pre-existing medical condition. Out on the street, people are getting back into their cars, locking the doors, and driving away as fast as they can. If I was Mrs. Parrish, I wouldn't let them leave. I'd beg them to move in for a couple months, or pay strangers to occupy every room, eat my food, mess up my carpets, just so the house wouldn't be empty. Did she feel anything? Mom turns on the lamp on the table next to her. The storm has come down from the mountains. I'm afraid she did. She died in terror, and she died alone. It was an awful way to go. I am an iceberg drifting toward the edge of the map. I don't believe you, I say. You're making this up to scare me. I don't need to make anything up. She's dead. You went to her funeral. Cindy will show you the autopsy report if you want. I don't want to talk anymore. Mom leans forward. You're allowed to feel upset about this. In fact, I'd rather see you upset than pretending it's not bothering you. You don't have to worry. I sit up and start to braid my hair. I'm sad she died, and I'm really sad she died in such a sucky way, but this is not going to ruin my life. Even before last summer, Cassie and I weren't as close as when we were little. We listen to the wind blow. Cindy wants to talk to you, Mom says. She told me you were the only person who could help her understand why. Why? She nods. Cassie had everything. A family who loved her, friends, activities. Her mother wants to know why she threw it all away. Why? You want to know why? None of this is dialogue. It's going on in Leah's head. Step into a tanning booth and fry yourself for 2 or 3 days. After your skin bubbles and peels off, roll in coarse salt, then pull on long underwear woven from spun glass and razor wire. Over that goes your regular clothes, as long as they are tight. Smoke gunpowder and go to school to jump through hoops, sit up and beg and roll over on command. Listen to the whispers that curl into your head at night, calling you ugly and fat and stupid and bitch and whore and worst of all, a disappointment. Puke and starve and cut and drink because you don't want to feel any of this. Puke and starve and cut and drink because you need an anesthetic and it works. For a while, but then the anesthetic turns into poison, and by then it's too late because you are mainlining it now, straight into your soul. It is rotting you and you can't stop. Look in a mirror and find a ghost. Hear every heartbeat scream that every single thing is wrong with you. Why is the wrong question. Ask why not. 3 stars. The pager buzzes in the kitchen table. She swears, checks it, and makes the magic phone call. Dr. Merrigan. After listening, she flies out of the room and up the stairs. I lie back down. The blanket has finally heated up, and I bury underneath it. My mouse tummy whispers because she forced almost 1,000 calories into me. I'll have to stay strong until dinner tomorrow to balance everything. I drift away. Leah, wake up. She shakes my shoulder again. I have to go. The hospital. Her eyes are pointed in my direction. But she's seeing EKG readouts and blood chemistry reports and the clean smoking line she'll be cutting through her patient's chest in an hour or 2. I sit up, shivering, and reach for the controls of the blanket. This thing isn't working. I unplugged it so you wouldn't get burned. She zips up her coat and bends over to kiss my cheek. I'm sorry I have to go. She kisses the top of my head. Get some rest. She slams the door on her way out, but not because she's angry. Dr. Merrigan always slams doors to make sure they're closed tightly. 37. The house of my mother breathes and eats. The dishwasher cycles through rinse, scour, normal wash, antibacterial rinse, and dry. The heating system filters all the air through electrostatic lungs and exhales it with a hush. The hot water tank fires up. The compressor of the refrigerator rattles, then hums to keep everything cold. It wouldn't matter if I screamed loud enough to break all of the windows. Everything would still function according to the owner's manual and guaranteed by a thick file of warranties. I shiver across the floor and go to the bathroom. When I flush the toilet, the water whooshes everything out of sight. Before I crawl back under the blanket, I open the curtains and stand in front of the chilly French doors that overlook what used to be heaven crossed out, the backyard. When Dad left, she hired landscapers to turn the vegetable garden into a bed of perennials, something that she wouldn't have to fuss over or water much. The compost pile was taken away, the herb garden went to seed, and the special plot of the strawberry plants turned into a walkway. Guys came once a week to mow, trim, and rake. I didn't think she hired them this year. It must have been a jungle in July and August. Now it's a dead jungle. The grass is knee-high and dead brown, littered with the husks of weeds and fallen branches. The scraggly perennial bushes are choked with dry vines. The stump of the maple that used to hold up my treehouse is rotting. It's like she doesn't even know she has a backyard. My treehouse was our castle until the summer we were 12. Nana Merrigan came to stay when school let out because I was too old for a babysitter and too young to be on my own. She baked every morning, zucchini bread, oatmeal cookies, or blueberry pie. She taught me how to knit and Cassie how to crochet, the endless lengths of yarn spooling over her paper hands and around her crooked fingers. We did not want to watch an old lady bake or knit. We wanted to hang out at the mall. We wanted to snap our fingers and turn 16 so we could drive cars and have dangerous boyfriends. The treehouse was too small for restless girls like us, but it was all we had. We read, played hearts and Uno, painted our nails, and ate popsicles and cheese and mustard sandwiches until our shirts were permanently stained. That was the summer I finally grew, after years of being smaller than everyone. Puberty stretched me on the rack until my arms and legs popped out of their sockets and my neck almost snapped. This new body smelled damp. The butt jiggled, the thighs looked a mile wide in tights, and a soft double chin bubbled up. My ballet teacher pinched the extra inches, took away my solo, and told me to stop eating maple walnut ice cream. I went from being the elegant swan to the ugly duckling that couldn't walk without tripping over her own 2 feet. Cassie said ballet was for babies. I said I didn't really care, though I did. Two days after that, she left for drama camp, and I was alone. That was the summer my father's most famous book was published, and he was on the news all the time, and Mom found out about his new girlfriend. He slept on the couch for a couple of weeks, and then he moved out. Told me he would always love me no matter what, rented a 1-bedroom apartment, and left. Nana Merrigan said good riddance to bad rubbish because she never really liked my dad to begin with. Mom filed for divorce. In the counselor's office, my parents claimed that we would always be a family because of me, but things would be better now. No more yelling, no more arguments. By tearing our family apart, they were actually making it stronger. By the time I figured out that they were not making any sense, the family counseling was done and Dad was walking down the aisle with Jennifer. The growth spurt ripped my internal organs to shreds. The pain woke me, screaming almost every night. My mother had me tested for 20 kinds of cancer and consulted with experts who looked at the black and white pictures of my insides and said nothing was wrong with me. The pain would go away when I stopped growing. They lied too. It got worse. Nana Merrigan headed home just before school started. Cassie came back from camp with a fake British accent, a nasty case of poison ivy, and 3 boxes of laxatives. I showed her how I'd been making tiny cuts in my skin to let the badness and pain leak out. They were shallow at first and short, like claw marks made by a desperate cat that wanted to hide under the front porch. Cutting pain was a different flavor of hurt. It made it easier not to think about having my body and my family and my life stolen. Made it easier not to care. Cassandra Jane's insides popped like a pink party balloon. Nobody sang to her or held her or helped her pick up the broken pieces. She died alone. I can't let myself look out any of the windows that face her house because it is only now beginning to sink in that she will never sleep there again, never slam the door, never sing in the shower when she was washing her hair. I make my way back to the family room, eyes closed, feet shuffling across the floor. I don't let myself see anything until I am away from the dangerous windows. My stomach is still whining, so I go back under the blanket on the couch, plugged in and turned to high. The grease from the eggs mixes with the muffin dough and juice. It pours into my arteries, a slow-moving sludge that wants to turn into concrete. Any minute now, my heart might just stop.